welcome back to Max's Mean Machines and my part 2 of my 1955 supercharged Chevy upgrades. As you can see, the suspension's almost done. I'm going to show you exactly what I did, and you'll see what I did with the front suspension as well.
Right, my back axle's done now. I braced the crossbar. I braced these to make it stronger, and had my emergency brake line set up. It's just touching the drive shaft, but I'm going to adjust this down a little bit, but this will go up 2 inches, so that won't be an issue. This is a Speedway 56-inch axle with a gear type 370 posi. Who makes the posi? Posi is made by... I can't remember right now. Anyway, it's Curry axles. I've got Curry axles in it, and Alden adjustable shocks. Now, I had to drill the holes out for the housing slightly bigger to the size of the studs, but there's a drill size recommended, but it was actually quite easy. And then the disc brakes came from Speedway, and because the performance axle slightly bigger, I had to Dremel the center out, but it only took me about 8 minutes, just quickly going around it, went on. But then the nose of the bolts came out a bit too far, so this wasn't seating properly, so I had to drill these out so that this could sit over the nose. But as long as you don't overdo this, that's what actually centralizes the wheel. Same on this side. See, this goes over the bolts, but see those, if you look in there, you can see that the nose took out of it, so, but anyway.
Okay,
so,
when you're aligning your axle and you're putting your ladder bars in and everything,
I kind of really wanted to paint the calipers.
This bit's really critical, obviously. So, you align your axle where you want it, and you find out where your crossbar is going to be, and you weld your crossbar in with the brackets on it for your ladder bars. You bolt your ladder bars on, and at this point you haven't welded it to your axle, so it should be very, very close at that stage. But you want to remeasure your axle position and have the brackets for the axle bolted to the end of the ladder bars. So your ladder bars are in place, they're secured at the front, and you move your axle, sideways to get it perfectly centralized. Check your measurements forward and back. Check your pinion angle and the ride height that you're going to want your axle. And at that point, you want to weld your brackets to the axle. Because once you've welded it to the axle, even if you're a 1/4 inch out sideways, it's going to be very hard to correct that. You're going to have your panhandle bar, which could do that a little bit, but technically you want everything to be perfect. So I would do it that way, and that's the way I'm probably going to do it in future. I lucked out, but it would be a lot easier to do it that way, in my opinion. But look up ways other people do it and make up your own mind. But obviously, if you can put everything in place before doing the final welding, you're better off doing that, because the alignment's a lot easier.
Front and rear suspension is complete. This is a heavy duty tubular front suspension with Alden adjustable shocks, and I've got a Ride Tech sway bar coming Monday to install, and then I've got Auto World 48-inch ladder bar coil-over kits with Auden adjustable shocks and drilled and slotted four-wheel disc brakes with parking brake feature, and I've got bigger wheels and tyres coming, and I'm installing a mini tub, which is in that box there.
So we have a lot of choices with front suspension parts and everything, and you know, some of them are really expensive and some of them are relatively cheap, and everything I build, I try to build it as strong as possible. So I often go with some of the biggest components I can find, because I'm not too concerned about lightness, because I want longevity. And often the heavier parts are the cheaper parts. And so this is what I did in this case. So I put really the biggest suspension I could put on the front. And I had to drill out the holes a little bit bigger for my adjustable shocks, but that's not a big deal. You're going to find when you do things like this, you know, you're going to get issues and you think, oh man, that doesn't fit, and you get all frustrated. But don't worry about it. You know, just look at it, use some common sense, and sometimes a little bit of finagling, you know, drilling out a hole a little bit bigger here and there works really well. And yes, I know wearing swimming trunks isn't really the best outfit for working on your cars, but when you're 20 feet from a swimming pool and you live in Florida, you're always jumping in. So that's it. So my Ride-Tech sway bar did not fit as they direct in their instructions, but probably because my upper and lower A-frames were different than the Ride-Tech ones. But with a little bit of thought, I worked out how to fix it, and you'll see here exactly what I did.
Perfect now. So I actually reversed these brackets. I turned them upside down through the same holes. Didn't have to re-drill it. It's just offset. So I just turned the brackets upside down, and it moved it 1.5 inches forward. Anyway, that should make the car handle really well.
So having all the front grille and everything out and the radiator out gave me the ability to really clean up in there. So I was able to repaint my engine and sort that out and work on the components better in there. For some reason they had the pulleys reversed, but because I check everything, I work that out, and there's a formula. And had I gone with that, my engine would have blown up, because I would have been pushing, you know, far too much compression. It would have just blown my engine up. So it's very important to check other people's work sometimes, because when I got the car, the engine wasn't running. It didn't really matter, because I was only getting like a third throttle, and it was running so rough I never got into any power. But had I fixed all the problems of the engine and left the pulleys how they were, the boost would have been so high that it probably would have just blown my engine up. Anyway, now you also see my headers here. All my headers were totally cracked and split where the pipes join the headers, partly because the engine wasn't bolted down correctly, and it just broke the headers because the engine was moving, and the exhaust system was fixed solid. So re-welded all that and put that back on. Anyway, as you can see, the engine's looking a lot better, and you know, I was able to paint the front frame and everything. So when I put my new upper and lower A-arms on, it all looked very nice, and it's coming along really nicely. Actually, when it came to the supercharged pulleys, it was actually my buddy Kenny who told me to check that, and he actually helped me with the equations of what the compression would have been. So thanks to Kenny there, who's a bit more familiar with superchargers than I am, actually a lot more familiar. So that was cool. I changed from a mechanical water pump to electric water pump, which would flow a lot more water at low RPM going around town to keep my engine cool. And also I changed my radiator and stuff, so I was kind of measuring for new hoses and things. You'll see the end result, it'll look pretty good. And yeah, just a lot of little things, just tidying things up. So Dave's over and he's helping me do the exhaust system. And Maximilian brought my exhaust because he's always telling me I'm putting too smaller pipes on and this, that, and the next thing. So he actually brought race mufflers, which are noisier than I would have gone with. And he bought me the 3-inch pipe and everything because my son was pushing me to, do it how he wanted it. Anyway, he didn't like the idea of me going out the side, but I really like that look, and actually he ended up really liking it when he saw it done. So Dave's helping me do the exhaust, and he's really good at the exhaust. So you can see it coming together there, and it's when you say it sounds like a race car, I mean it. It's awesome. But anyway, that's cool. So I actually put an air fuel sensor in this exhaust system because of the supercharger, knowing how critical it is that the fuel air doesn't lean out. That's what I did, and I think I'm actually going to do this on all my cars from now on. It's just really nice from a tuning point of view to know exactly what your fuel air mixture is doing as you're driving the car. So that's a nice little feature on this 55. So you will see I still have my old T5 manual transmission there, which is going to be replaced by an automatic 400. And I actually went with a really expensive transmission, which actually initially gave me problems. But
I'm
I'll
getting
talk about that later.
almost finished my customization of my 55 Chevy with a big block stroker engine with an 871 blow on it with twin 4 barrels. I've got my custom adjustable suspension. I've got my huge 3-inch exhaust system. I got my auto weld 48-inch ladder bars on my custom built rear axle with 370 gear in it, with Alden adjustable shocks, 4-wheel disc brakes, the 5-speed manual Tremec, but I might upgrade that. And it's coming along really nicely. Love my custom exhaust. Just goes with the Hot Wheels look of the car. And I've got 15-inch trims coming because I think that looks better on a kind of Hot Wheels type car with bigger Huser tyres, 13-inch white Huser tyres. So put a bigger wheel and tyre in there. And then I've still got the mini tub kit to do. I got some wiring to sort out because they made such a mess wiring this thing. So I got to cut out probably 95% of that and then wire each thing individually neatly. But yeah, it's going to be pretty confused.
Well, in part 3, you're going to see how I do my front end alignment, which is quite cool. And I really appreciate you watching this video. And you'll see some of my transmissions issues I had in the following episodes. And I hope it's helping you. And this is the measurements that they suggest for the front adjustments.